And now, straight from the horse's mouth, our Neil Young News Report.
Smell the horse on this one.
With this week's update from thrasherswheat.org, here's Thrasher.
Hey, Thrasher here with this week's Neil Young News, and the fields are a bit quieter this week after all the news from Bridge over the past couple weeks. Certainly lots of highlights from Bridge, but moving ahead, our thoughts turn to 2014 and what's in store. Traditionally, after the Bridge each year, things in the Neil Young News Department tend to quiet down until the new year begins. So other than having the Cellar Door release coming up in December, things should remain relatively quiet. But as we know, Neil Young will be doing some solo shows in Carnegie Hall in January. But where do we go from there? More solo shows, and of course the big question that everybody's been talking about really since the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young reunion was announced for Bridge this year is, will there be a CSNY tour in 2014? A pretty logical question, given that there's been lots of discussion about this 1974 tour box set being released in 2014, although the box set itself has been talked about for what seems like decades as well in terms of being released. So there's even really a question mark about whether the box set will come out next year, if ever. The format keeps changing, the set list or track list keeps changing, whether it'll have a video or won't have a video, or what kind of bonus or this or that. So who knows? But it does seem like the box set will have a high probability of actually getting released next year, which leads us back to the question of whether there will be a CSNY tour. So all eyes were on the Bridge when the group got together and played, and everybody was trying to, figure out what exactly was the how should we say, the chemistry between all of them, whether it was looking good or bad or what have you. So everybody has an opinion on that. It seems people were fairly divided about whether the Bridge reunion went very well or just sort of okay. So I guess to ramble on here and try and come to a conclusion on all of this, it's really unknown. There have been interviews posted recently with David Crosby, Graham Nash, Stephen Stills, all separately, where reporters are trying to get them to make some news about whether this tour will happen. Clearly, it seems as if CS and N all want to do a tour in 2014, but everything hinges on whether Neil wants to do this or not. And our opinion has always been that Neil is not really looking to do just sort of a victory lap kind of tour, that he's all about trying to do new music, and that if it didn't seem as if they had new music, that they probably wouldn't tour, or Neil would make the call not to tour. Well, they certainly all individually have new songs that they've recorded, but in terms of actually the four of them recording a new song together, that doesn't seem to be quite in the cards. So I guess in summary here, who knows? But then again, that seems to be the way it always is. So read those interviews, decide for yourself what you think. Stay tuned, and we'll see what happens. So moving along here, next week, next Tuesday, November the 12th, is always a big day here at Thrashers Wheat and out in the Neil Young world, where Neil Young will celebrate another birthday. So happy birthday, Mr. Young, and Neil will be 68 on Tuesday. So lots of radio stations like play Neil Young music on Neil's birthday. So I'm sure here on WBKM it'll be an all Neil day. And speaking of WBKM is actually going to be celebrating their birthday on November 12th as well. So they'll be celebrating up in Burlington, Vermont there. They've got a little birthday gig planned there in downtown Burlington. So if you're in the area, head on down and celebrate WBKM's birthday and Neil Young's birthday, sort of like a 2-for-1. So happy birthday, guys. Tony, Eric, we know you'll be having a good time. We'll be there sort of virtually in spirit, and wish we could be there in person. So in the meantime, everybody just keep on rocking in the free world.